Let's find out what Blaine Fowler thinks, our dual threat analyst on college basketball and college football. We're going to start with your reaction last night to the crazy finish from Villanova. Chris Jenkins hits the buzzer beater, and we start thinking about, man, both sides. Thrilling victory, crushing defeat. What did you think about all of that?
Well, I feel bad for the crushing defeat. I don't think lasts as long. I think the thrill of victory, you live on that forever and ever. We've conditioned ourselves as fans and as players that, hey, when you have a crushing defeat, you got to put it behind you. So you do. You agonize over it, and then you go, okay, we just got to turn the page. But the thrill of victory, we relive that forever and ever. Like, we don't go back as BYU fans, and we don't watch the field goals that were made by Utah in all those 34-31 games. We don't go look at that. We go look at the doink field goal.
98.
We go look at the doink, and we go back and we watch Danny go over the top of Orlando Woolridge. We go back and we watch Beck to Harling. We relive the thrill of victory over and over and over again. And as fans, we just put the bad ones behind us. How about that one right there with Tyler Haas? Yeah, it's just, but then we go, there's the game winner. No, thank you, Della Vedova.
Oh.
Are you kidding me with that? But we learn to put that behind us. It's how we condition ourselves as fans, and we learn to live the great plays over and over and over again. That one, and the people that are just listening don't know what we're watching because this is a simulcast, but we just watched the blocked field goal against UCLA. That had special significance to me because Kellen was out on the field, and he was playing in that game, and I thought, oh, no. Here we go. They've got the best kicker in the United States.
Kai Forbath.
They're going to make this thing, and it's going to be heartbreaking because BYU's out in the lead, and now they're going to give it up at the end. And when that block came, I was watching Kellen. He was coming off the edge. He didn't block it. Ethan Monomaliuna did. But I saw Kellen just drop down to his knees and look up at the heavens, and I was like, yes. Now we can rewatch that one forever. And I have a little different perspective on the Beck to Harline one because I'm down behind the goalpost getting ready to interview either Kyle Whittingham or Bronco Mendenhall. That's my job. Immediately following the game, I'm the first person that gets to talk to one of those guys. I'm trying to formulate the questions I'm going to have, and I don't know who's going to win. So that's agonizing in and of itself. Well, who do I talk to and what do I ask, right? So Utah comes down and they score. I'm standing right next to Brady Whittingham. That's Kyle's little brother and good friend. I lived with the Whittingham. So Brady looks up at the clock, and he sees how much time is left on the clock after Utah scored, and he looked at me and he goes, crap. I go, what? What crap? And he goes, that's way too much time. Crap, they're going to lose this thing now. And
15.
Prophetic or whatever the word is, they go right down the field systematically, and John Beck with the Beck to Harline as time expires. And so that one was kind of a different view for me. But I think the thrill of victory lasts forever. The agony of defeat, it tears your heart out. But you put it behind you. That's what you have to do. And for North Carolina folks last night, they thought they had it.
They thought they were at least going to OT, right?
Yeah, that was a better shot. That was an unbelievable shot. It was a better shot than the last shot, other than the last shot won the game. That for him to kind of double clutch in the air
was crazy.
And hold that ball and knock it down, I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that. Game winner. No, not the game winner.
Well, yeah, tied the game.
And somebody should have been like Brady Whittingham on the North Carolina side and look up and go, crap, they're going to get one more shot. They still have a chance to win this thing. And so, I've been part of a lot of thrilling victories that are just etched in my mind. A great place. Kyle Morrell over the top at Hawaii to preserve a national championship. Best defensive play in the history of BYU. The SMU game. Eddie Stinnett throwing it back to Steve Young to win the game. So many. On the sideline for the Beck to Harline. In the booth for the Andrew George touchdown in overtime, being on that game. So I've called and I've been involved in a lot of huge plays. Heck, it seemed like every game Jimmer played in was a huge moment. And sometimes it's not end of game plays. One of my favorite calls ever as a broadcaster was Jimmer making a half-court shot at Utah, and that play. Sometimes when SportsCenter takes the top 10, they will take your audio or they won't. They'll just take the video and they'll talk over it.
That happened yesterday.
Right.
Number 6 with Brendan Anderson.
So they took our audio, so it was my call, and so I'm watching SportsCenter top 10, and I'm thinking, that play at halftime of Jimmer is going to be top 10. Well, it was number 1, and then they just went, let's listen. And it was our call, and there I am, number one on sport.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, I rode Jimmer's coattails to get there. And I just
all
said,
did, Blaine.
I remember saying he made it, and Jimmer just turned around like it was nothing. Like, yeah. And I said, yep, that's Jimmer's right now going, yep, I'm Jimmer Fredette. That's what I do. I make shots. And he just walked off the court, and that was the call. And so I've been a part of a lot of them. I remember all of the thrills. They're just etched in my mind forever, and I put those heartbreakers behind me. I don't remember those that much.
That's the most convincing argument I've heard yet via Twitter or here, because mentally, to cope and not be depressed constantly, yes, you have to move on psychologically, emotionally from those moments.
As fans, we have to be cornerbacks. As fans, we have to be cornerbacks or quarterbacks. When you throw a pick in a game as a quarterback, you just have to go, wow, well, that was, I can't even think about that. If I think about that, it's going to tear me apart. I just have to move forward. A corner has a touchdown thrown over the top of me, has to go, oh, whatever. I don't care anymore about that. That happened. I got to focus now. That's what we do as fans. We forget the bad. We remember the good.
At He-Man_Hyde, I accidentally backed my car into my sister's car as I left the house in blind rage when the Vegas Bowl was 35-0. So,
oh, no.
Wow. Oh, my goodness. Yeah, there's those stories, too.
Joining us in Studio B is Blaine Fowler. We're going to talk some more college basketball with specifics to BYU. Amidst all of this madness last night in the NCAA championship game, we found out a few hours earlier that BYU has scheduled a non-conference game next year at Staples Center in Los Angeles, the home of the Lakers and the Clippers, against USC. Now, this was a situation where BYU had trouble finding good games at the last minute coming into this season. This is an early sign that the strength of schedule will be a little bit better, Blaine.
Yeah, and here's the thing. I believe the talent influx that's coming in prepares BYU to face this non-conference schedule. So USC, Colorado, Weber State, Illinois, Utah State, Utah Valley. So that's a really, really good blend that we have right now on that preseason schedule. With that schedule, I look at it and go, there's not any reason why BYU shouldn't beat every one of those teams with what they've got coming in. So I look at it and go, is there anybody there that's so imposing that I think, oh, well, there's a potential loss? I don't see one right now in the non-conference schedule yet. I believe there's enough big names, and I like the addition of SC. You know what I like, too? It's a doubleheader with Gonzaga playing Arizona.
Yeah.
I like that the Zags get to play Arizona. That's good. And we don't have to play Arizona.
I would love to have
Because typically
Arizona
they're
there,
better
though.
than USC.
Yeah.
But SC is a big enough name, and that's a doubleheader in the Staples Center, a great experience for the fans and for our players. But it also is one that the whole nation is going to have their eyes on. And if BYU comes out, and with the influx of talent, with Eric Mika back out there, with Haas in the lineup, with Dastrup playing, people, if they whomp USC in that game, people are going to go, oh, wow, they just got all this talent back. This is a big-time program. We heard about what was coming back, and now on a national stage they get to show everybody. That could launch BYU into the national presence and conscience right there at the beginning of the season. So I love that game. I love that it's a doubleheader. I love the Zags in Arizona playing in it. And how about if the WCC just sweeps the Pac-12 in that one?
Fantastic.
That would be fun.
That would be nice.
That would be fun.
And Gonzaga is going to be good. It's just how good. That's what their program is.
Yeah.
So, does Sabonis go pro? Yeah. Hey, DeMontis, please go pro. You're.
I want him to
excellent.
stay.
Get out of here.
I want
Go pro,
Karnowski
man.
and so, because Wilcher's gone. And so I
I
want
Sabonis back.
I want Sabonis and Karnowski back.
man.
Because think about that battle with Mika, Kafusi, Dastrup. BYU's finally going to have a front line to match up with those giants. And they don't have Wilcher, and maybe Dastrup is the Wilcher. Because he's a big that can go out and shoot threes, and he's really skilled, he can play. That's the guy nobody talks about, because we're all familiar with Mika because he played. We all know Haas because he played alongside Emory on that national championship team. The guy that nobody thinks about is Dastrup because he played down in Arizona and he committed to Ohio State. So let's keep this in mind. When Ohio State offers guys scholarships, every guy they offer they think is an NBA guy. So that's how talented this young guy is. So
And then Yoli Child is kind of under the radar as well.
People don't, they don't talk about him. They talk about the Lone Pete guys, but there's some other pieces to this. And how about the Elon transfer?
Eli Bryant.
Come on. This is an
good.
unbelievably
We've
talented
seen him
team.
in practice.
And
He's
we've got
legit.
to understand that it's a new collection of talent. They're going to have to find themselves a little bit, but they're really talented. And I don't want to put any pressure on this coaching staff, but the next step is to get to a Sweet 16. I believe that happens next season.
Next season.
Yeah, and then after that, wow, who knows? Is it Final Four talent? It could be. It depends on how these guys come back from their missions. But before their missions, that's Final Four talent. You never know how guys are going to focus and what they're going to do coming back. But if they can live up to the potential they had before their missions and have the work ethic and all of that and be who we thought they could be, this could be a Final Four team 2 or 3 years from now. Next year, come on. If they get to the Sweet 16 with a new collection of talent, that's going to be a great accomplishment. I think they have the capability to do it.
Joining us now in Studio B is Blaine Fowler, dual threat analyst on BYUtv for college basketball and football. Let's finish up with the 4 new coaches that have been hired in the West Coast Conference. I mean, it has been wiped out, and there are some big-time names coming in. Notably, Damon Stoudemire, former point guard for the Trailblazers. He's the head coach of Pacific now. Terry Porter, another Trailblazers point guard, is the head coach of the Pilots
Terry
of
Porter
Portland.
was on my wall growing up on a Blazers poster the whole time, so that's awesome.
Those guys are going to be head coaches in the WCC. Herb Sendek comes from Arizona State to Santa Clara, and Kyle Smith leaves Columbia to take over at San Francisco. So this is what the West Coast Conference wanted.
Yeah, these are big names. You know, and they've got great coaching experience. We know that Herb Sendek has got a lot of experience, and he can coach. The one that nobody talks about is Kyle Smith, and he has the most experience. He was at St. Mary's for a number of years, so he understands this conference. Of all those we just mentioned, he's the one that nobody knows who he is, and he may be the most prepared to coach in this league. He understands this league. He understands the road. He understands all of that. But those are big names. I'm a little bit sad because over time, Ron Verlin has become a good friend of all of us, and they've been great to work with. And Eric Reveno, we love Eric. Rex Walters has really come around and become a really, really good close friend. And then Kerry Keating's been fantastic to work with at Santa Clara. So these are coaches that have been really good to us at BYUtv and have been open with us, and they're great to work with. So this it's a little bittersweet. I'm excited for the big names, and I think it'll bring a lot of attention to the league. I think it'll help recruiting for those programs. But I'm sad to say goodbye to guys that are really good friends.
Blaine, great stuff as always. We discussed everything from the thrill of victory to crushing defeats to the new look West Coast Conference coaches, and we'll do it again soon, man.
Thanks, man. One of my favorite coaches in the whole world is in the building right now. Right there.
Oh, snap. And that takes us to...
Blaine wants a T-shirt or something.
No, I got to tell you.
Our guest coming up after the break, Mike Littlewood.
What people don't know
B.
is one of the greatest college basketball officials in the country. Fantastic. I always loved working games. We never got to do a BYU game together, but I did a lot of other games for ESPN and NBC, and Mike did too. Fantastic basketball official. And how about as a baseball coach? My heavens, BYU is back, baby.
Blaine's taking us to break. Is that Clark Kent or Mike Littlewood? I can't.